Ah, yes. Analytics king, Dan Campbell. You are hearing me correctly. There is not an audio issue. Listen, Dan Campbell might kind of, I think, get this like weird like football guy meathead reputation, but that's not exactly, certainly not all he is. I remember him talking on the Pat McAfee show about how like he does view analytics as a tool. He's not someone who just shoves it aside. He did kind of give the canned answer like, well, you can't just go by analytics, which of course we all know. But I do find it interesting, and you actually look at the numbers, and the numbers are surprising. So you look at, this is the chart of every team and how often they go for it when they should. You see the Lions are by far and away at number 1 right here. Although worth noting, smaller sample size for them than for other teams, so that's another factor here. And so I found this pretty interesting that Dan Campbell is someone who will go for it on 4th downs. And some people might argue, well, yeah, they're trailing all game. Of course they're going to go for it on more 4th downs. But no, this is excluding the final 30 seconds of the game or when someone's win probability drops below 20%. So this is strictly just in terms of, traditional football stuff. Although the one thing I should mention is there's no denying that part of why he does this is because his team isn't very good and you're trying to steal some wins. That's something he does. However, I was fascinated by this and I kind of wanted to, I made a video, I'm not sure which one's going to come out first, but I made a video doing this with Brandon Staley, going through all his 4th down decisions and seeing, okay, what the results were. Did it help them or hurt them? Well, for a team like the Lions, who you would expect, okay, when people talk about, well, you got to factor in like the team skill and everything, not a lot of teams are less skilled than the Lions. At least not a lot of teams were less skilled than the Lions last year. So let's check and see, did they actually get benefits from doing this? Or is this something that worked on paper but did not work in practice? So here we go. So these are the first 4. We're going to go down the list like this. So the first game against the 49ers, it actually gained them 11 points by doing it, by going for 4th downs in certain scenarios. So we then saw kind of a string of several games where it cost them 3 points against the Packers, against the Bears, and against the Bengals. Didn't affect the outcomes in any of those games, but did, affect the scoreboard. Although against the Rams, they ended up gaining 3 points there. Remember, that was the game where they couldn't stop, doing this crazy stuff. They also had an onside kick in that game, so a lot of fakes and stuff, which were fun. Although, only 3 points ended up being the actual difference. Not in all that stuff, but in terms of the 4th down decision makings. This next chart, we see some ups and downs, but one thing worth noting, so again, lost 3 points against the Eagles, did not affect the outcome. They gained 3 points against the Steelers. In this game, if you remember, ended in a tie. So didn't give you a win necessarily, but at least took a loss off the scoreboard and turned a loss into a tie, whereas had they not done that and everything else stayed the same, which of course is not how this works, but if it were, then that would mean that they gained half a win there. Against the Vikings and Broncos, it cost them in both of those games, cost them 7 points against the Vikings, and then cost them 1 point against the Denver Broncos. Although going over here, we then it would end the season with 4 straight positive decision makings for Dan Campbell. The 4th down decisions worked here, +4 against the Cardinals, +10 against the Falcons, +3 against the Seahawks, because one cost them some points, but another one gained them some points, and then against the Packers, again, one cost them 3, but then they had a couple that gained them 7 points. You also, if you're wondering how could you be a -4 due to a decision, what I did was, if there was a touchdown due to short field position, I did -4 because the field position, they still would have gotten in field goal range. We don't know if they would have scored a touchdown. Maybe that's unfair, but that's just the way I did it to make it that. So the overall verdict, 18 net points added for the Detroit Lions, which also they added about half a win, which, usually about 20 points is considered half a win. So that does kind of check out, actually. It worked out that way. So even the worst team, one of the worst teams in football, going for it a lot made sense. I just found it interesting. I don't know if Dan Campbell is someone like Brandon Staley who just, says, let me know the numbers and then I'm going to go for it. I don't think it's quite that simple with him, but it's still a new school mentality that is working in the NFL of being more aggressive. Being more aggressive does work. How much does, is this intentional with Dan Campbell with the numbers? I think to some degree it is. I certainly do. And I think that he was smart in saying, hey, in certain situations, we're not very good, so we're going to be way more aggressive and try to find a way to upset this team. I think all that stuff makes sense. But that's what I think. What do you guys think about all this? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.